This is continuous coverage.
Continuous coverage
In the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell from the Hidden Killers podcast.
Hidden Killers podcast.
Let's go to segment number 3 now in the courtroom on the 18th of April, 2023, in the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell.
All right, we're back on the record on case CR 22-21-1624, State of Idaho versus Lori Noreen Vallow. We just concluded our lunch recess. We're ready to start with afternoon evidence. Is the state ready to call another witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, we'll go ahead and have the jurors brought in, and then you can call your next witness, Mr. Wood. All right, thank you, Mr. Bailiff. Please be seated. All right, we'll note on the record that the counsel's all present as well as the defendant. So at this time, the state is continuing with its case in chief. If the state wishes to call another witness at this time, you may.
The state calls Mark Sowry.
Very well. All right, as we get started, Mr. Sowry, I first want to inquire, have you been following the trial testimony or listened to it in any way in this trial since it started?
I have not.
All right, thank you for that. Please make verbal responses to any questions you're asked because we're making a court record. Try to avoid speaking at the same time as anyone that's questioning you. And with that in mind, Mr. Wood, you can inquire on direct.
Thank you. Can you please state your name for the record and spell your last name?
Mark Sowry, S-A-A-R-I.
Thank you. What is your occupation?
I'm a special agent, the Social Security Administration, Office of Inspector General.
Okay. Did you say for the Inspector General?
Correct.
Okay. What are your qualifications to be a special agent for the Social Security Administration and Inspector General?
So I was a prior deputy U.S. Marshal for approximately 13 years. I completed the Criminal Investigator Training Program at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center in Quinco, Georgia.
Okay. And what are your duties as a special agent?
I investigate allegations of fraud, waste, and abuse.
Okay. Related to?
Social Security Administration fraud, correct.
Okay. How did you become involved in the investigation regarding Tylee Ryan, JJ Vallow, and Lori Vallow?
In about January of 2020, our office was contacted by the FBI out of Phoenix, Arizona, requesting assistance locating missing children, JJ Vallow as well as Tylee Ryan.
Okay. And what was the purpose of your investigation?
To determine if there was any kind of fraud related to the children's benefits being misused by their mother, Lori Vallow.
Okay. What steps did you take in your investigation? What were your initial steps?
I reviewed police reports from the Rexburg area, met with the FBI as well as other law enforcement in the area, served, I believe, several subpoenas.
Okay. Pursuant to your investigation, was Tylee Ryan receiving Social Security benefits?
Yes, she was.
Do you know why she was receiving Social Security benefits?
Based upon her father, Joe Ryan, who was deceased in 2018.
Okay. Do you know when he was deceased?
I believe in or about April of 2018.
Okay. And do you know how much per month Tylee Ryan received in Social Security benefits?
Approximately $18.59 in the year of 2019.
Okay. Do you know if, pursuant to your investigation, was there ever a change for the financial institution receiving the direct deposit funds for Tylee Ryan?
There was.
What was the first account she received her Social Security funds in?
It was a JP Morgan Chase account.
Okay. And did that then switch to another account?
It did.
What account? What was the institution that it switched to?
To a BBVA account.
Okay. And do you recall when that would have happened?
The change was made on or about August 20th of 2019.
Okay. When such a change takes place, would there have been a notice to the guardian of a minor child receiving Social Security benefits?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know how they would have received it?
It would have been a letter sent to Lori Vallow's last known address.
Okay. Do you know if that's an automatically generated notice?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Have you reviewed such a notice in regards to this change in financial institutions?
I have.
Okay. Your Honor, I'm going to ask that the witness be handed State's Exhibit 114C.
All right, the witness has been handed the exhibit.
Mr. Sari, do you recognize this document?
I do.
What does it purport to be?
It reports the change of bank account direct deposit information for Tylee Ryan that occurred on or about August 20th, 2019.
And is this, did you review this document as part of your investigation?
I have.
Okay. And is this a true and accurate representation of the records kept by the Social Security Administration?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask that that State's Exhibit 114C be entered into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
Okay, Exhibit 114C's been admitted.
May I publish it to the jury?
You may.
Mr. Sari, who is that letter addressed to?
Lori Vallow for Tylee A. Ryan.
Okay. And under the section, what you should know, can you just read that first paragraph?
As you requested, on or about August 20th, 2019, we changed Tylee Ryan's direct deposit information. We will send her direct deposit, we will send her Social Security payments to the new financial institution or account you selected.
Thank you. Mr. Sari, oops. I guess I should call you Agent Sari. Pursuant to your investigation, are you aware of when Social Security payments for Tylee Ryan ended?
Yes.
When was that?
In or about the month of January 2020.
Why did they end?
Based upon Social Security having her benefits suspended on or about January 3rd, 2020.
Okay, and why did Social Security suspend those benefits?
Due to the children's whereabouts being unknown.
Okay. Pursuant to your investigation, did JJ Vallow receive Social Security benefits?
Yes, he did.
Why did he receive benefits?
Based upon his father, Leland Charles Vallow, being deceased in or about July 2019.
Okay. And how much did he receive per month?
Approximately $19.51 per month in the year of 2019.
Okay. When did those payments begin?
They began on or about September 18, 2019.
And do you know when those payments stopped being dispersed?
Yes.
When was that?
In or about January 2020.
Okay. And are you aware through your investigation why they ended?
Similar to Tylee, based upon the child's whereabouts being unknown.
Okay. Now, when Tylee and JJ received Social Security benefits, are those considered survivor benefits?
They are.
Are you aware through your investigation if Lori Vallow received Social Security benefits?
Yes.
What kind of benefits did she receive?
It was called Mother, Child, and Care Benefits.
Okay. What are the conditions for a mother, child, and care benefit?
For a mother to be married to her spouse at the time of his death And then secondly, she cannot remarry to continue receiving benefits.
Okay. And I assume she has to have a minor child.
Correct.
Okay. When did Lori Vallow begin receiving those mother and care benefits?
The same date as JJ did, on September 18, 2019.
And do you know how much she received a month?
Approximately $19.51 per month.
Okay. Did the monthly amount she received ever change?
It did.
Do you know why?
In the month of January 2020, the last month she had benefits, she had a small garnishment from U.S. Treasury.
Okay.
A small garnishment?
And I think you just said the last month she received it, but when did disbursement stop being made for Lori Vallow?
In or about January 2020.
And why did they end?
Due to the child's whereabouts being unknown, JJ's whereabouts being unknown.
Okay. I'm going to talk with you real quick about if an individual is receiving Social Security benefits, do they ever have a duty to notify the Social Security Administration of any changes in circumstances?
Yes.
What kind of changes in circumstances require notification?
If the child's no longer under your care, if the child is deceased, also a change of address, that sort of thing.
Okay. And are individuals who apply for Social Security benefits notified that they are required to provide that information to the Social Security Administration?
Yes.
How are they notified of that?
After their application, they receive a letter for the application summary. They also receive it's called a notice of award. So we receive 2 different letters giving them warnings on their requirement to report to Social Security of any kind of changes.
Okay. Pursuant to your investigation, are you aware if Lori Vallow ever received such a notification?
Yes.
Do you know if she received such a notification when benefits were applied for JJ Vallow?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm going to ask that the witness be handed State's Exhibit 114B.
Very well.
Agent, do you recognize that document?
I do.
What does it purport to be?
This is the mother, child, and care reporting responsibilities that were sent to Lori Vallow on behalf of her child, JJ.
And is that type of record regularly kept by the Social Security Administration?
Yes, it is.
And did you review that record as part of your investigation?
Yes, I have.
Is that a true and accurate representation of the reporting responsibility notification you described earlier?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, I ask that State's Exhibit 114B be admitted into evidence.
Any objection? All right, there being no objection, 114B is admitted.
May I publish to the jury?
Yes.
Agent, I'm going to just point to a line with my pen, if you could read it.
In any beneficiary dies or becomes unable to handle benefits.
And then can you read the first one as well?
You or any child changes mailing address for checks or residence. To avoid delay in receipt of checks, you should also file a regular change of address notice with your post office.
Can you read that line?
Custody change. Report if a child for whom you are filing or who is in your care dies, leaves your care or custody, or changes address.
Oh, and then this one.
Change of marital status. Marriage, divorce, annulment of marriage of any child. You must report marriage even if you believe that an exception applies.
Agent, did Lori Vallow ever report to the Social Security Administration that Tylee Ryan died or was missing?
She did not.
Did Lori Vallow ever report to the Social Security Administration that JJ Vallow died or was missing?
She did not.
Did Lori Vallow ever report that Tylee and JJ had moved from Arizona to Rexburg?
She did not.
Did Lori Vallow ever report to the Social Security Administration that she married Chad Daybell on November 5th of 2019?
She did not.
And did Lori Vallow ever report to the Social Security Administration that she moved to Hawaii in November or December of 2019?
She did not.
The state has no further questions at this time.
All right, thank you, Mr. Wood. Who's going to conduct cross-examination?
I don't have any questions, Your Honor.
All right, then that will conclude the testimony of Agent Sari. Is he here on subpoena?
He is, Your Honor.
All right, may he be released? Any objection to that from the defense?
No objection.
All right, you can be released from the subpoena then. Thank you for your testimony.
Thank you. Your Honor, the state would next call Chuck Consitis, but we'd ask for a sidebar before we do that.
Okay.
Discuss some logistics.
All right, whenever you're ready, Mr. Wood, you can call your next witness.
State calls Detective Chuck Consitis.
Okay. All right, before you commence with examination, counsel, let me just ask the detective, have you reviewed or listened to or followed any of the trial testimony so far in this case?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll just advise you to please make verbal, audible responses to your questions and try to avoid talking at the same time as anyone questioning you so we can keep a clear record. With that in mind, Mr. Wood, you can inquire.
Thank you, Your Honor. Before I inquire, the state would to to enter into evidence multiple business records, affidavits. And if you'd like, I can go read through the exhibit numbers on those.
Okay, let's go through and call out each exhibit number, and I'll confirm that there's no objection.
Okay. State's Exhibit 63.
Any objection to that being admitted?
Your Honor, it's true that under Idaho Rule of Evidence 902 business records, we are not intending to object.
Okay, thank you for that. So 6-3 will be admitted.
State's Exhibit 64.
Any objection as to 64?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 64 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 65.
Any objection as to 65?
No, Your Honor.
That will be admitted.
State's Exhibit 66.
Any objection on 66?
No, Your Honor.
That's admitted.
State's Exhibit 67.
Any objection from the defense on that exhibit?
No, Your Honor.
67 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 68.
Any objection from the defense on 68?
No, Your Honor.
68 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 70.
Any objection as to 70?
No, Your Honor.
That one will be admitted.
State's Exhibit 71.
Any objection on 71?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. 71 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 72.
Any objection as to 72?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. 72 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 73.
Any objection on that exhibit from the defense?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 73 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 74.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
All right, exhibit 74 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 75.
Any objection on that exhibit?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 75 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 77.
Any objection as to 77?
No, Your Honor.
77 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 78.
Any objection as to 78?
No, Your Honor.
All right, 78 is now admitted.
State's Exhibit 79.
Any objection as to offered exhibit 79?
No, Your Honor.
79 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 80.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Exhibit 80 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 81.
Any objection as to 81?
No, Your Honor.
Exhibit 81 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 87.
Any objection on that exhibit?
Did you say 82 or 87?
87.
No objection.
Okay, 87 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 88.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
88 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 94.
Any objection as to 94?
No, Your Honor.
94 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 95.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
That exhibit's admitted.
State's Exhibit 96.
Any objection as to 96?
No, Your Honor.
That one is admitted also.
Exhibit 97.
Any objection?
No.
97 will be admitted.
State's Exhibit 90.
90.
Yes.
All right, Exhibit 90. Any objection?
No.
Very well. Exhibit 90 is now admitted.
State's Exhibit 91.
Any objection?
No objection.
91 is admitted.
State's Exhibit 92.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, thank you, counsel. Next exhibit.
100.
I'll note 92 is admitted. Any objection as to 100?
Your Honor, I don't see the certificate of authenticity on Exhibit 100. They can point that out to me.
All right, that exhibit for now, we can pass that over. You can take a look at the issue, Mr. Wood, and bring that up.
I'll have the bailiff hand a copy to the defense.
All right, then as to Exhibit 100, upon further review, is there a continuing objection or is it stipulated to be admitted?
Your Honor, the document they handed me appears to be the certificate of authenticity, so I do not object.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Archibald. So Exhibit 100 will be admitted.
A few of these got a little bit out of order, so I apologize. State's Exhibit 98.
Exhibit 98.
No objection.
Thank you. 98 will be admitted.
State's Exhibit 99.
Any objection?
No objection.
Thank you. 99 is admitted.
101.
Any objection?
No objection.
All right, 101 is admitted.
The last one is State's Exhibit 121.
Any objection on 121?
No objection.
Okay, 121 is admitted then. If you'll give me just a moment, counsel, I'm going to confer with the clerks. Mr. Wood, it's brought to my attention some of these exhibits have sub-letter exhibits within them. Is it true that any number admitted is not objected to, including subparts?
That's the state's understanding.
All right. Does the defense understand that also, that when I admitted some certain number, if it has subparts, those are admitted as well?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that clarification. All right. With that then, just briefly, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I know that was took some time to go through that. The attorneys, I appreciate very much working together to discuss evidence in an effort to keep things running efficiently. These exhibits are all admitted, and the court has to very carefully keep track of what evidence comes into the case and what does not. That's the reason for going through each one of those individually as we did, to make sure that at the time of your deliberations you receive the right documents and don't receive something you're not supposed to have. So that's the rationale for doing what we did there. In terms of your note-taking, etc., these are records that you'll be able to have for your deliberations now that they've been admitted. So thank you again, counsel, for going through this in advance. And with that, Mr. Wood, you can inquire further of the witness.
Your Honor, did the court have its inquiry it wanted to make? You've been making an inquiry with each witness. I don't think one's been made so far.
As to whether or not, I don't recall now if I asked the witness if he's reviewed any of the prior trial proceedings. Have you reviewed or seen any of the trial testimony so far in the case? Okay, thank you for that, and I appreciate you bringing that to my attention as well, Mr. Wood.
And, Your Honor, before I begin questioning, I just, pursuant to the conversation with the court and counsel in sidebar, the witness does have a stack of documents at the witness desk, and we would ask him to not look at any until he's specifically asked to look at them.
All right, so for the witness then, when you testify, if you are referring to some specific document, you'll need to identify what that document is when you're referring to it, of those exhibits that have now been admitted.
Thank you. Can you state your name and spell your last name for the record?
My name is Chuck Kunsaitis, Kunsaitis.
What is your occupation?
I am employed with the city of Rexburg as a police officer.
How long have you been a police officer with the city of Rexburg?
Almost 23 years.
Have you ever worked for another law enforcement agency?
I have not.
Are you post-certified?
I am. Graduated post-class 131.
Okay. And have you continued receiving training over the last 23 years?
Yes.
Okay. And what is your current rank?
I hold the rank of detective.
How long have you been a detective?
Since 2011.
Okay. Detective, how did you come to be involved in the case regarding Tylee Ryan, JJ Vallow, and Lori Vallow, and Tammy Daybell?
Back on November 27th of 2019, I was aware that Detective Ray Hermosillo was issuing search warrants at the Rock Creek townhomes in Rexburg for 3 different townhomes to conduct a welfare check to locate JJ Vallow. I was not part of that initial search warrant service. I arrived later in the afternoon. I met up with Detective Hermosillo and asked if I could help. And he asked that I just walk through Apartment 175 just to see if there was anything of evidentiary value that may have been missed.
Okay. When you walked through, did you find anything?
I did. In the upstairs master bedroom 175, there was a printer in the bedroom. And on that printer, there was an invoice in the name of Lori Vallow for Self-Storage Plus for unit number C52. And that is a self-storage facility located at 433 Airport Road in Rexburg.
Okay. Did you obtain a search warrant for that storage unit?
We did later that evening.
Okay. And did you execute that search warrant?
I assisted Detective Hermosillo with that service.
All right. A detective, at any time in your investigation, did you have occasion to write a warrant for a P.O. box in Sugar City, Idaho?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
In this late December of 2019, we received information from Gilbert Police Department in Arizona that Lori Vallow had a post office box in Sugar City, Idaho. We followed up on that information.
Okay. And so did you wrote that warrant?
Yes.
And did you execute it?
I did.
What did you find in executing that warrant?
There was a large bundle of mail, possibly around 100 pieces, addressed to Lori Vallow, addressed to her brother Alex Cox, and her former husband, deceased Charles Vallow.
Okay. Did you find anything of interest to your investigation in that mail?
Yes, some of that mail we were able to discern it came from different financial institutions. There were cell phone bills and things of those natures. There was also mail from the Social Security Administration and IRS.
Okay. At any time, did you obtain a warrant for any other mail?
We did. Around that same time, there was a gentleman by the name of Steve Cruz who was the owner of the townhome of number 107. This was the townhome that was applied for by Lori Vallow at the Rock Creek townhomes, and there was abandoned mail that he wished to turn over to the police department, and we obtained a warrant for that. And there was letters that were addressed, or mail addressed to Alex Cox and Lori Vallow.
Okay. Based on what you found in that mail, did you serve any other warrants or subpoenas?
Yes, for the mail, we ended up sending out search warrants and subpoenas to several financial institutions.
Okay, what was the purpose of obtaining financial records in your investigation?
Well, in the hopes of finding such a missing persons case as this was, where we were looking for JJ and Tylee by this time, you can glean a lot of information from financial records. It's not only just how much is in the account, but you can look at how much activity is taking place on an account, where the money is being spent, whether it's done online or if it's done in person, if it's an everyday account for errands and those types of things.
Okay. Detective, did you create a list of financial institutions upon which you served warrants?
I did.
Let me clarify that question. I'm sorry. As to Lori Vallow and Tylee Ryan, did you create a list of financial institutions upon which you served warrants?
I did.
Did you prepare that list in anticipation of testifying before the jury?
Yes.
Okay. Did you prepare that list to aid the jury in knowing which financial institutions that you're speaking about and being able to keep track of them?
Yes.
And do you believe that that demonstrative list would so aid the jury?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask that the witness be handed State's Exhibit 62.
All right, the witness is being handed State's Exhibit 62.
Do you recognize that?
I do.
What is it?
This is a financial account attribution list that I created.
Is this the same demonstrative list that I spoke with you about earlier?
Yes,
And is it a true and accurate representation of what you created?
it is.
Your Honor, for demonstrative purposes, I'd ask that State's Exhibit 62 be entered into evidence.
Any objection?
For that purpose only, no objection.
Okay, it's admitted for the limited purpose of being a demonstrative exhibit.
Thank you. If I could just, I forgot.
That's
Detective,
Exhibit
could you
62.
pull Exhibit 62 from your folder?
More room up here.
Your Honor, may I publish to the jury?
Yes, you may.
Detective, can you read that? Can you see that list?
I can.
Are these the accounts that you? Can you just briefly summarize the accounts that you either obtained information either from warrants or subpoenas?
Yeah, we obtained numerous accounts for banking records in this case, and we were able to narrow that down to the list that you see here. Would you like me to go over each one of them?
Just briefly.
So the first one is titled Lori Vallow Daybell. These are accounts that are associated with her. There's a J.P. Morgan Chase joint account with her former husband, Charles Vallow. There's a second J.P. Morgan Chase account that she shared with Tylee Ryan, and you see the last four digits after each of those. Those are the last four digits of the account numbers in a way to keep track of things. There's a third account from J.P. Chase Morgan that was also a shared account with Charles Vallow. That account ends in 0377. There is two accounts associated with BBVA. There's a personal account that's a sole account user for Lori Vallow, and that ends in 3229. There is a joint account that Lori Vallow shared with Tylee Ryan, and that one ends in 5794. There's a Barclays Hawaiian credit card joint account that she shared with Charles Vallow. There are two card numbers associated with that account, and each card number is reflected after the name. There's an additional Barclays credit card joint account that Lori was a cardholder on, with sharing under her brother's Barclays account, and that would be Alex Cox. Alex had two cards, and Lori was issued one card. There's First Hawaiian Bank, and this is a personal account for Lori Vallow. Chase Southwest Air, it's a joint credit card through PFS Marketing, Premier Finances Services. This is the business that Charles Vallow, her former husband, I believe was the owner of and worked with. There's also a National Life Insurance of the Southwest. This is a life insurance policy that Lori had taken out for personal reasons.
Okay. And just the bottom for accounts associated with Tylee Ryan?
Yes, so the first two, the JP Chase and the BBVA, are shown above. They're just placed under Tylee Ryan's name. And you'll see the Chrysler Financial, and it's for a Jeep that Tylee purchased with Charles Vallow.
I'm sorry, it's for a what?
A Jeep vehicle, Jeep Wrangler, that was purchased through Chrysler Finance.
Okay. Thank you. Detective, can you look at what's been marked as State's Exhibit 63A? And Your Honor, these are previously admitted, so
All right, that exhibit is admitted.
may I publish to the jury?
You may.
Detective, can you let me know when you have 63A?
I have it in my hand.
What is that document?
This is the banking application, account application signature card for Charles and Lori Vallow for the account of, which would become 0769.
Okay. What was the significance of that account to your investigation?
Well, we just learned that it was an everyday account that was used for errands, paying bills, shopping. And this was also an account that would be talking to or sharing with the Tylee Ryan account, the 3918 account.
What do you mean by talking to?
There'd be transfers of monies from this account into Tylee's account, and also this would be the account that's associated with when the account was closed, when Tylee's account closed.
Okay. Can you look at State's Exhibit 63B?
Is it possible to just take these out so I'm not making a bunch of noise up here and just lay them down flat where I can't see them?
That's fine if you want to do that.
Okay.
Take them out of the envelope and go through the stack if we're going to be going through all those records.
Okay. $63B?
Yes.
Okay.
I just know this is previously admitted. Detective, what is that document?
This is just a sample portion of the account activity of the 0769 account that Lori has with Charles Vallow. It's dated from 6/10 on the statement, monthly statement, and it runs through, I believe, July of 2019.
Okay. Did you review that account that ended in 0769?
I did.
Did you review all the documents that came in with it?
I did.
Are there regular deposits into the account?
In this account, the deposits were came in through online transactions from another account. The last deposit showing in this account came in July, just shortly after the death of Charles Vallow, and there were no more deposits coming in this account. And the bottom line of the account just kind of dwindles down until the account goes into overdrawn status in November.
Okay. And that, just to clarify, that was the account, a jointly held account by Lori Vallow and Charles Vallow?
Correct.
Thank you. Detective, can you pull out State's Exhibit 63C? Yes. Can you identify that document?
Yes, this is the signature page for Tylee Ryan's shared account with Lori Vallow for JP Chase Morgan, and the account ends in 3918.
Oh,
I'm sorry, 3918.
Could you keep your voice up a little higher?
Yeah.
Or just closer to the microphone, probably. I know it's hard, but they pick up better if you talk right in.
Okay.
Detective, what was the application date on that account?
This account was signed on February 22nd of 2017.
Detective, can you pull out State's Exhibit 63D?
I have two 63Ds.
Do you want to confirm with your witness, Mr. Budd?
Yes,
You can
Your Honor,
approach.
if I can approach.
Yes.
So I have the chase. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
All right. Now, do you have 63D?
I do.
Do you recognize that document?
I do.
And what is it?
This is a year's worth of banking statements for Tylee Ryan from January 2019 through the end of October of 2019.
Okay. And what was significant about that document to you, or those records?
A couple of things that stand out to me is that this is heavily used, lots of activity on this account. She's making a lot of transactions. She is also showing that she's receiving monthly Social Security stipends. And in the year 2019, she was receiving $1,859 a month. And it also shows that she is making monthly car payments for the Chrysler Jeep.
Okay. As you go through banking records, are you able to tell the difference between what I'm going to call brick and mortar payments and online payments?
Yes.
And are there, can you just briefly describe the level of spending like at brick and mortar type establishments?
In this account, Tylee uses quite a bit of brick and mortar type establishments. She spends a lot of time at convenience stores and fast food restaurants, shopping centers, and those types of things. And that is the majority, overwhelming majority of her spending on this account is with brick and mortar.
Okay. Detective, can you look at State's Exhibit 63E?
Okay.
Do you have that?
Yes.
What does that document purport to be?
This is the final statement in September, or correction, August into September for Tylee's account, of the 3918 account.
What is significant about that document to your investigation?
Well, for the majority of the month of August, you see her making purchases almost on a daily basis and multiple purchases on days. And it also shows her movements. What I mean by that is we know that Tylee and Lori and family moved to Idaho over the weekend of September 1st, as far as our investigation found. And it shows her making purchases up into on September 1st. There's her last in-person purchase is showing for 2 McDonald's restaurants in St. George on the 1st. I need to make a clarification, if I can. You see the date in the far left column. That is the posting date. If you look next to the McDonald's purchases, it says 9/1, and that would be the purchase date of the product or transaction.
Okay. Was there any record of any money being deposited into that account after the last date shown on that record?
No. In fact, the last payment for Tylee's Social Security ended in July for this account. The last purchase or last deposit for her Social Security was in July 24th, I believe, of 2019.
Okay. Detective, can you look at State's Exhibit 63F? Do you recognize that?
Yes.
What is that?
This shows a final transaction being conducted on Tylee's account on September 20th. Tylee's account had drawn down to $10.04, and this is showing a transaction that was made on 9/20, which was an online transfer to Lori Vallow's JP Chase account 0769.
Was there anything significant about that transaction to you in your investigation?
There was nothing else from Tylee that was done on this account.
Okay. Are you familiar with, through your investigation, has there been an established last proof of life by the Rexburg Police Department for Tylee Ryan?
Yes.
And when was that?
Between September 8th and September 9th.
Okay, thank you. Your Honor, if I may just briefly inquire, I've gotten a note that the documents might be blurry on the small screens. I don't know if...
Okay, I'm not sure how they're coming up most importantly for the jurors to view, so if you want to put one on to publish, and we can inquire whether or not it's legible.
Okay. Detective, can you pull out State's Exhibit 63G?
63G.
I can actually view the witnesses' monitor fairly well from here, so maybe that'll help.
Do you recognize 63G?
I do.
What is that document?
This is an online administration tool that users who bank with JP Chase Morgan can access into their own accounts, and it establishes a personal identification number to each individual that has an account.
So the page that's on your screen right now, can you identify who is identified in that as users of this account?
In that highlighted portion on the top line there, you'll see a user ID for Tylee Ryan.
Okay, and does it give an ID for her? Is there a profile ID or profile number for her?
Yes, underneath where it says online profile in that left-hand column, just down a few spots, it actually gives a profile ID number, and in this case it ends in 0212.
Your Honor, I'd ask that the witness be handed a pointer so that he can point to the screen to show the jury what he's talking about.
All right, we do have a laser pointer available.
Is this it right here?
If you can repeat what you just said and showing the jury with the pointer what you're talking about.
In this left-hand column, down a few spots, you see a profile ID number, and that's the number right there that ends in 0212, and that's specific to Tylee.
Okay. Did Lori Vallow also have a profile number under this account?
She did.
Okay. Is that identified on the page that's on your screen?
Yes.
Okay. And where is that located again?
So in the highlighted portion, again, it has Lori's highlighted information here, and down here it has her user ID number, which is right there, and that number ends in 5132.
Okay. Detective, knowing these profile numbers, what is the significance of that in aid of your investigation?
It can digitally leave a footprint on every time you access your account or make any kind of transactions at the bank online.
Okay. Does this document show this account closing?
It does.
Can you show to the jury where it shows that?
So on the bottom half of this page, if you want to raise it just a little more, thank you. A little bit more, please. Yeah. So on the bottom of it, you'll see right here shows a date of 9/20 and a balance of $10.04. And next to it, it says high school checking, the account number ending in 3918. And this amount was transferred. Over here, it shows it's transferred to Lori Vallow's account ending in 0769. I believe it's right down here.
And is there an identifier for who transferred it?
Yes, right here there's an identifying number that shows that it was completed by the user ID of Lori Vallow.
Thank you. And what was that date again?
September 20th.
Of 2019?
2019, yes, sir.
Thank you. And briefly, Detective, can you look at 63H? Do you have that?
Yes.
What is that document?
This is the statement for October ending balance of the account showing a zero balance for Tylee Ryan's 3918 account.
Okay, of October 2019.
Correct.
Thank you. Detective, can you look at Exhibit 63I? Are you familiar with that document?
Yes.
Did you review this document?
I did. I'm familiar with the account. I wasn't the primary reviewer of this specific account.
What account is this?
This is the shared account for Charles Vallow and Lori Vallow, ending in 0377.
And did you obtain that through a warrant or a subpoena?
I did. This was issued with the original documents that we received.
And did you provide that to any other law enforcement agency to review?
Yes, to the FBI forensic accountant Michael Douglas.
Okay, thank you. Detective, can you look at State's Exhibit 64A? Do you have that? What is that account? What is that document?
This is the banking account application for Lori Vallow through the BBVA Compass Bank.
Is it a sole account?
It is a sole account. She is the only user.
Okay. When was it opened?
This account was opened in October of 2018.
Okay. And you obtained this through a search warrant or through a subpoena?
I did.
What was the significance of this account in your investigation?
Well, one of the main points of this account was this is an account only accessed by Lori, and this account will end up receiving all of the Social Security deposits into this account for Lori's income.
Okay. What date was that account opened?
October 20th of 2018.
Okay, thank you. Detective, can you look at State's Exhibit 64B? Yes.
Okay.
What is that document?
This is a sample statement, monthly statement for Lori Vallow's 3229 account for BBVA. It runs from, I believe, August through January of 2020.
Okay.
Mr. Wood, sorry to interrupt. I want to clarify where we're at on that particular exhibit with the court's copies. So that was, what did you say it was, 64?
I'm sorry. I think I said 64A. I meant 64B.
Okay. We've got one that's just marked 64. And as long as the witness has got them, these might just be a courtesy copy issue.
Well, I'd like to make sure defense has the accurate.
Yeah, let's see if there's so 64's got subparts.
And does the court have 64B? And if I could inquire of the defense, they have 64B.
I have 64 and 64A. Do we have 64B? We don't have a 64B.
We brought an extra.
Okay.
Does counsel have a copy of 64B?
Thank you.
Detective, what is State's Exhibit 64B?
This is the monthly sample monthly statement printout for Lori Vallow's BBVA 3229 account from August through January, August 2019 through January of 2020.
Okay. Excuse me. I'm going to call your attention to a deposit made on 8/28. Can you see that?
I can.
And I'm going to ask if you can use a pointer to point that out to the jury.
Right here, about the middle of the page, is a deposit for $1,859 from the Social Security Department.
All right. Do you know who that deposit was? Do you know whose Social Security benefit that was?
That benefit is assigned to Tylee Ryan.
How do you know that?
Well, in my investigation, I learned when there's multiple deposits made into a single account for people receiving benefits, they're each given us an identifier. And in this case, for Tylee, you see the numbers 4121, and that would be from Tylee's received death benefits from her father, Joe Ryan, when he passed away April 3rd of 2018. And this is the last four numbers of the decedent's Social Security number. And then there's a designation C1, and that stands for child. So she's a child receiving benefits for the decedent, of Joe Ryan.
Okay. And your investigation, is this the first deposit of Social Security into this deposit, or into this account?
Yes.
And where was Tylee Ryan receiving her Social Security before this?
As previously stated, she was receiving money into her account that she shared with her mother from the Chase Morgan account, the 3918 account.
Okay. And this account was a sole account for Lori Vallow, correct?
Correct.
What date, I believe I already asked, but what date was that deposit made?
On the 28th of August.
What was significant to you in reviewing these records about that date?
It was right before the family moved to Idaho. And also we had learned that on or about August 20th, Lori Vallow had contacted Social Security Administration and requested to have Tylee's direct deposit from the J.P. Chase Morgan account changed to this personal account of Lori Vallow.
Okay. Was there any other significance of that to you?
Not at this time.
Okay. I'm going to call your attention to a deposit made. It's on the third page of the document if you want to turn to it.
Okay.
A deposit made on September 18th.
Okay.
Try and if you could use a pointer. There's two deposits made that day. Can you describe those?
Yes, they're showing two deposits on September 18th from the Social Security Administration. One is for the amount of $3,902, and the one right below it is a deposit for $4,157.
Okay, and are you able to identify what those deposits are, where they come from?
Yes.
How can you describe that?
Again, where there's multiple deposits coming into an account from Social Security, they give each account a special designation ID number. In this case, we have the last four of the decedent Charles Vallow's Social Security number. His Social Security number was 436029801, and then we have the designated C1 for the child. In this case, it would be for JJ Vallow.
Okay. And do you know, are those the regular monthly payments?
No, this is the first installment. So when she applied for her benefits in August of 2018, this is sort of back pay that she gets from when they generated their paperwork.
Okay. Detective, and so that deposit was made September 18th.
Correct.
Are you familiar through your investigation with the Rexburg Police Department when the last known proof of life for J.J. Vallow is?
Pertinent to our investigation, J.J. was killed 5 days later.
Okay.
5 and 6 days later.
Detective, you mentioned earlier that this account, this BBVA account ending in 3229, received from August on all the Social Security payments.
Yes.
Okay. And you've reviewed this document for those payments?
Yes.
Detective, did you prepare a chart that summarizes, or I shouldn't say summarizes, but demonstrates the deposits of Tylee Ryan's Social Security? Let me re-ask this. Did you prepare a chart that demonstrates all of Tylee Ryan's Social Security deposits?
Yes.
Does that include both the J.P. Morgan account and J.P. Chase account and this BBVA account?
Yes.
Okay. Did you do that to aid the jury in understanding when those accounts were, or when those deposits were made?
Yes.
Does it label the banks to which the deposits were made?
Yes.
Did you prepare that in anticipation of testifying today?
Yes.
And do you believe that would aid the jury in understanding the deposit history for Tylee Ryan's Social Security payments?
Yes. Yes.
Detective, could you look at State's Exhibit 84?
Okay.
Detective, is this the demonstrative chart that I've just been talking to you about?
Yes.
Did you include any other information on that chart?
I included the monies being deposited into the J.P. Morgan and Chase for Tylee, and then also showing the monies being put into transferring over to Lori Vallow's account after she contacts Social Security.
All right. And did you verify the amounts on this account against the actual records?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask that for demonstrative purposes that State's Exhibit 84 be entered into evidence.
Any objection from the defense?
As a summary, no, I don't object.
Okay. It's admitted not as evidence, but as a demonstrative exhibit.
Okay. May I publish?
You may.
That wraps up the third segment. There is more to come. Press subscribe so you don't miss a moment of it wherever you are downloading podcasts. I'm Tony Bruschi. Stay with us.
This is continuous coverage
Continuous coverage.
Continuous coverage.
in the trial of Lori Vallow Daybell from the Hidden Killers podcast.
Hidden Killers Podcast.